Hey guys, Random Reviews here, and today I'm going to show you what I'm planning on reading for the month of March. The first one is a crossover. It's one that I've been reading for a while now. It is Aesop's Fables. I'm not picking this up every single day, but I pick it up every now and then, and I'll read a fable. I'm about 1/4 of the way through. And the last one I read, in case you are curious and would like to go and read it, it was The Jackdaw and the Pigeons. That one was quite interesting to read. It was yet another one that I had never heard of before or even read before, and I really enjoyed it. So the next one that I'm going to show you that I'm reading, remember these are in no particular order, is Hot 6 by Evanovich. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It is a Stephanie Plum novel. This is the 6th book in the series. I've been reading this series since I was probably about 12, and I laugh my head off every single time I read the book. I find it's just a lot of enjoyment that I get out of the series. My favorite character, I have to say, is Grandma Mazer. I know that I really like Stephanie Plum and Morelli and Ranger, but I'm a big fan of Grandma Mazer. I think the story would be missing an element without her. This one says, bounty hunter Stephanie Plum is faced with her most daunting task yet. Bringing the mysterious former Special Forces agent Carlos Manozo, aka Ranger. He's the man who taught her everything about fugitive apprehension, and Stephanie knows she will be testing her skills against the master. But if she does catch him, she's not so sure she could turn in her friend, even if he's wanted for murder. So that one sounds really interesting. It does remind me a bit about the first novel in the series, One for the Money. She has an FTA who is Joe Morelli, and he plays a key part in that book as well as all of the other ones. And it's kind of interesting that in this book, it's Ranger that's the FTA. The next book that I have on my to-read is The Rose Labyrinth by Titania Hardie. The front of this says, a riddle to unravel, a legacy to unearth, and a heart to mend. And what's interesting with this edition, you open it up, and the hardcover came with the extra parchment paper that they find in the novel, and then you take this piece out, and it is the hardback edition, which is the novel, and it says, a single sheet of parchment and a silver key, a secret passed down through generations, a mystery waiting to be unlocked. So this sounds very interesting. That was why I got it, but after I received it, I was just doing a little bit of research, figuring out if I wanted to read it right away, and what ended up taking place was I found out that on Amazon and Goodreads, there's a lot more negative reviews than positive, and a lot of people didn't like the book, they didn't finish the book, and that's kind of a little upsetting, because you know that when you get a lot of different people reading a book, you get different reviews, but when a lot of them were agreeing with each other and not liking the book, that's a different story. The next one is The Dork Unwinding by Sharon. This was Sharon Cameron's debut novel last year. I picked it up and I didn't get reading it, but I'm really excited. I'm going to read it this month. The back of it is what caught my attention. It says, the winding of a clock, the unraveling of a heart. And I was looking up with the different wheels and old machinery. I'm assuming that this novel involves steampunk. If I'm right, then this will be my first steampunk novel. This one says, when a rumor that her uncle is squandering away the family fortune surfaces, Catherine Tolman is sent to his estate to have him committed to an asylum. But instead of a lunatic, Catherine discovers a genius inventor with his own set of childlike rules, who is employing a village of 900 people rescued from the workhouses of London. Catherine becomes torn between protecting her own livelihood and preserving the peculiar community she grows to care for deeply. And things are made even more complicated by the developing feelings Catherine has for her uncle's handsome apprentice. As the mysteries of the estate begin to unravel, it is clear that not only is her uncle's world at stake, but also the state of England as Catherine knows it. With twists and turns at every corner, this heart-racing adventure will captivate readers with its thrills and romance. So this one sounds really interesting. I'm quite interested to find out what's going on with her uncle and these workers. The next one that I'm going to read is Cathys Book. This one looks so good. It's a very interactive book. There are phone numbers and emails or websites to check out. And it says, Emma, I know it all sounds crazy. You and Mom will be wondering where I've been disappearing to and when I'll be back. That's why I'm leaving you all this evidence, in case something happens and I don't come back. Look at everything in my book, call the phone numbers, check out the websites, but you can't tell anybody about it unless you want to end up in over your head like me. So don't worry, I'll be okay, I think. Hey, maybe this is the beginning of a new life for me. For sure, it's the end of the old one. Call me. Love, Cathy. So over on this side, you open it up, there's some evidence, and then over on this side is Cathys Book, and there's doodles and writings in it, and it just really feels like a teenage girl's journal or diary. So I'm quite interested with that. I believe Cathys Book is a trilogy. There's a second one and a third one out. One's called Cathy's Ring and the other's called Cathy's Key. I'm not exactly sure of the correct order right now, but they both, if I like Cathys Book, I'm probably going to pick up the other two and read them as well. And the last one on my actual pile, unless I finish these early, is Richard Castle's Storm Season. Marvel took the fictional character of Richard Castle and they made his Derrick Storm novels, which don't really exist either, into graphic novels. And they are so good. I really enjoyed the surprises and the shock factor of the first one, and I can't wait to get into this one. Because of what's on the back, I think it's going to be just as shocking and surprising and action-packed as the first one. The private investigator is hired to help a wealthy woman get back the money she lost to a con artist. But what should have been a routine mission quickly spirals out of control when the con artist reaches out to Storm seeking his help finding a missing woman. Haunted by a recording of the woman's scream for help, Storm investigates and soon discovers an international conspiracy, reaching further than he ever imagined, perhaps all the way to Claire's strike. A CIA agent the world thinks is dead. My word, does that not sound good? Like, I can't wait to get into that one and read it. And let me just show you the pile. For some reason, these piles seem to get bigger and bigger every month. So that is the pile for the month to work through. And if you would like to know the current reads, so current reads, this, Aesop's Fables. I read probably a fable every day if I can. And the Rose Labyrinth. I actually cheated. I already started my March TBR pile. I started this on Monday. I know I'm on chapter 19, page 178. That's my bookmark. I'll take that out. So I'm right there in the book. Yeah, I couldn't wait to start reading, and I thought, you know what, since the Rose Labyrinth is the one that I'm kind of on the fence with, I'll read it first. Because I know from what I've read with the other ones and from reviews that I've seen, I'm really excited for those, and they seem to have a lot of positive feedback from them. So I thought I would start with the one that's a little more wishy-washy. So that is what I'm reading for the month of March. What are you currently reading? Go pick up a random book and read. Bye, guys.